first time I spent an extended period of time with Bill Selden, for whatever reason, I invited him to a fraternity party in Atlanta, Georgia, to my fraternity. Now you got to wind the clock back a little bit here because he was in his 40s. And he agreed to come, and I was living with 4 other guys in a house in the Buckhead area. Buckhead wasn't what it is today, but anyway, he slept on the couch. He was the life of the party, as you would expect. And I tell this story because I think he was the life of the party just about anywhere he went. He was just a delightful person. And, you know, when he came back, people would say, "Did you have a good time?" "Well, I had a delightful time." You can just imagine how he would say that. And a year or so later, he got that grin that he had. And we were reminiscing, we were talking about having done this. And he said, "Yes, and when I got back, your dad wanted to know all about it, and I didn't tell him." Oh, about 2 years later, I'm going to say, I became engaged to Lisa. And that became news here, of course, and it became news in Mobile, Alabama. And at the Bay, on Mobile Bay, 2 doors down, is a lady by the name of Mariah Wynn. And our daughter is named after her. And she was Lisa's mom's best bud. And so we get engaged, and she learns about this, and she calls Biba, was Lisa's mom's name, and said, "I need to know, there is a man in Athens, Tennessee, and he has called me, and he knows about my portraits, our family portraits. And I want to know who this man is and how he knows all this stuff." So at that time, of course, Lisa had no clue who Bill Selden was. And so she called, and I said, "Well, he happens to be the treasurer of our company, and the only member of the board of directors that is not a family member." So they were at ease about who this fellow was. And as it turns out, she was a female person like Bill was a male person. And in that, they knew everybody. They remembered everybody's names. And so they became wonderful buddies. And it was okay that he knew about her portraits. We all know that Bill has been a great member of this community and a big supporter of the community. He sang in the choir for many, many years. He's done so many, many things. But one of the things that I've enjoyed being a part of is to help raise money for the museum every year. For many, many years, he donated a dinner. And many of you all may have bid on that and won that opportunity to go to his home and have a dinner at his home that he prepared. And it was just an incredible evening. I got to go a lot because Lisa and Rob and Debbie and I and Twyla Dotson would go, and we were the servers. And so I learned to lead from the left and remove from the right and all that. But it was just, that to me stands out as one of those things that he did, that he enjoyed doing. He enjoyed having those people there. And he just knew he was supporting a great cause in the museum. And he did support and has supported so many different things. He worked for Mayfield for the better part of his working career. I'm not going to tell you the whole history of that, but I want to tell you a story that my dad told me about the tail end of that. It seems that about 2 years before he's about to retire, he has a meeting with my father and my uncle. Tom was the president and Dad was the vice president. And he said, "You know, fellas, you all have built a very nice business here, and it's gotten to be quite large. And I'm going to be leaving in a couple of years, and I think that you need to start working on putting in some sort of a check and balance to handle your cash. Today, you really don't have a cash system. I handle all your cash." That's pretty trustworthy. That's pretty trustworthy. That speaks to me a great deal about the kind of person that he was. Lastly, I don't think we're supposed to make deals with God, okay? I guess we're just not supposed to do that. Many of you all have heard Bill tell some of his stories about being in the World War. He was in the Battle of the Bulge in World War II, earned the Bronze Star. Many of you have seen or read the story that he told about Christmas and getting a package at home. And I want to tell a story that I'll be 75 or 80% accurate, I'm sure. But he told a story one time about being in the heat of a battle and being sheltered by a very large tree, and a Panzer tank comes up and virtually demolishes that tree, and he's there exposed to the tank. And he said, I said, dear Lord, if you will get me out of this, I will never complain again in my life. Well, he held up his bargain. And today, as he's going to the Lord, he made a deal with the Lord, but he held up his end of the bargain. And I think that sets an example for us about how to live, how to treat people, and how to be.